All right, so welcome my friends and my new people to the Tuesdays Mastermind on Unleashing Your Voice. We are in the second week in June and we've just come off of conference. So we had happy hour, a power leads day, and then we had 5 amazing speakers that shared with us. We had probably 250 people in the room. I'm not sure the final number, but it was amazing. You can still hear my voice is a little edgy from all the talking. I don't know if anybody else is still recovering from it. But that was just so much energy and I met so many new people. It was incredible. So we talked a couple weeks leading up to the conference about the words that matter when we do our 30-second promotional, right? And then when we also are listening to our keynote speakers. So today we're going to kind of mastermind around what were our takeaways. And let's start with the 5 keynotes. So a lot of you in this arena here are interested in being speakers if you're not already a speaker. So with those 5 speakers that you heard, talk to me about some of your key takeaways in that. Who did you really like? Who connected with you? And why? Does anybody want to go first? And Sue, I know Sue wasn't there. I think everybody else was there. So you can just listen. But Wendy, you want to go first?
Should probably unmute myself, huh? So I really connected with Chris Salem the most.
Okay.
Because most of his speech is in my upcoming book. Like I was sitting there wondering if he's already read it, even though it's not out yet. So we connected afterwards and he's got 2 radio shows that he's gonna get me on. So that's pretty amazing. One of the things that they talked about, I kind of already used, but it was kind of nice to have an acronym for it, which is SHUVA, S-H-U-V-A. See them, hear them, understand them, validate them, and appreciate them. And it just kind of reinforced everything that I already do, but that's, you know, one of the things that kind of stuck out for me.
And who said the Shuva?
I don't remember. You know, all my many notes.
Yes.
I don't remember. There was a lot going on.
There was. And so tell me, what about Chris, his content, his mannerism, his energy?
It was his energy. You know, I'm a very direct and straightforward person. So I kind of really gravitated towards that. Not just his content, but the energy and the way that he spoke and how that he spoke. Because I know there's a few people that wanted me to connect with Gary, and while he had a lot of great things to say, the energy connection just wasn't as strong with him as it was with Chris Salem.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else want to give any feedback on the speakers that they heard, their takeaways as to why they resonated so much to you as an audience member? Noelle commented that the value of having multiple speakers. Yeah, I love that. So you get different styles, different energies, different content. Ava, you had something to say?
I like Mike Silver's because it's kind of more my style anyway, but he went up there, he read his audience, and I've heard him several times before. And what he did is he looked and he pivoted. And so I'm all for audience participation. I mean, if you're going to come to one of my, if I'm going to speak, you're going to participate. And I really like that, making the interactive. He does it a little bit differently than I do. He's probably smarter because that's why he's on all these big stages. But I like the way I thought he really read his audience, and he adjusted his what he was going to do, depending on who was there.
Now, when you say, so words matter. So when you say he read the audience and he pivoted, what does that mean to you?
To me, he asked questions, and if he would get a big response, he would continue on that direction. If there was no response, it told him, oh, this is not my audience. This is like when he asked, I noticed his questions were like an interview. Who in here is a nurse? Who in here is medical? Who in here is, all of his questions, if you notice at the beginning, were identifying who his audience was. And then once he had his audience identified, then he began to tell a story. But he didn't tell a story until he identified the audience.
So I love that you found that out. That is a nugget. That is one of the things that as a speaker you can do. I mean, if you know who your audience is, but you never really know who your audience is. Like, we may have some demographics, but when your talk gets into the nitty-gritty, having those clarifying questions is super juicy to direct the talk that you're about to deliver. One of the things that I like to do as a speaker, instead of saying who is, I like to say, if you are a whatever, raise your hand. Because just by utilizing that, oh, and I love the kitty cat in the background there, Wendy. When you say if you are, you're kind of connecting like you're going one-to-one, okay? Instead of saying group. That's just my thought, and how you can get a little more connected on a one-to-one when say if you are instead of who is. Just a small shift in linguistics that I think could allow connection on a deeper level with your audience. But thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Come on, guys, don't be shy. This is all, this conference was as speakers. Every time you see another speaker, it is a teaching moment. Jeff, let's hear.
There was one line that Chris, I mean, somebody was talking about Chris Salem being a favorite. That he was definitely my favorite of the day. Just, I don't know. He was relatable to me. I love the guy. Had a lot of really good conversation with him afterwards. And he said something, I wrote it down. He said, give without expectation, receive without resistance. And I thought that was so cool. I love that. So because that could apply to so much. And it was just so, it was cool. Yeah. Loved it.
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Well, I'm going to call on you. So you all got to kind of give me a little. Miss Wendy.
Okay, so I connected with the last guy. I don't remember names, but the last guy, I connected with him the least.
Michael.
It felt like he was overstaged, from my opinion, but I liked the first two because they were nice and relaxed, and they were cool, and they were, just more nonchalant and charismatic versus feeling or having the presentation of being on stage.
Yeah, I mean, you got a variety of styles, which is why I think it's important for you to recognize what style of talk resonates with you as your audience. And then there's a point to this in the end. So thank you for sharing that, Wendy. Ted, you were there. Talk to us.
I was there. I did like all the speakers. I did resonate with Chris too. I liked how he talked a little bit about what can we control. We can control our actions, our communication, our attitude, our behavior, and our emotions, and to focus what we say in those realms. And that was pretty cool too.
Awesome. Was there something about how he said what he said that resonated with you?
I don't know. I guess I wasn't thinking like that when I was just listening to him. I mean, the connection I think comes from what do I do and what's being said to me. Do we connect, or are we just opposites? And I think there's a connection there.
So there was more of a topical connection than necessarily an energy or a vibe. that
Yeah,
came from
well,
him.
he had that too, but yeah, I think
Okay.
that's what he was talking about resonated well. And then allowing me to say, okay, I got to tweak this, or I'll make this little tweak to that. I already do that, but I'm not doing it that way, you know.
Gotcha. Was there any other speaker that you vibed with as much as you did Chris? I mean, Chris,
They,
you said message, but
yeah, they all had something important to say.
right.
Brandon was, when he got to look at Brandon's sign and say HOA, I was thinking one thing, and when he started talking and went in a different direction, I thought, oh, we might actually be good power partners. I got to talk to him now, so what he said on stage, and because he was on stage, drove me to go talk to him. Ashley brought a lot of personal depth into it, and that's always carries a sentimental vibe, and I think everybody really enjoyed what she had to say. I'm trying to remember a lot. I didn't see all of Gary's, so I can't comment on that. And then, like everybody's been commenting, Michael took a completely different approach, and just he was in the audience while
Yeah.
he was talking to the audience. So it just a completely different approach again. And you almost are like you're at the theater, you're just watching and waiting to see what's said next.
I love it.
With
Jeff.
Michael was unique because with all the rest of the speakers, they were delivering a message, and they were like, I'm going to speak, I'm going to relate to you, and then I'm going to speak about something, and you're going to absorb what I'm speaking about, and hopefully you get some benefit out of it. Michael almost felt like he was trying to relate to us, like, here's what I'm doing, and you could do it too. Here's some pointers on how I'm doing this. Here's some ideas how to do this. And even Catherine looked over at me, my wife sitting next to me, and she said, I think he's trying to teach us how to do it, like to talk, and I'm like, well, yeah. So it was kind of sneaky though. He kind of snuck it in there, with the points he was making. It was pretty cool.
That's why I liked it. I thought we got a free mastermind out of it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Noah, what did you think about the speakers, and what really resonated with you?
I wasn't there either.
Oh, you weren't there?
No.
Okay. Well, stinker, you got to be there next time.
Yes.
Joseph, you were there. Were you actually in the room a lot?
I was bouncing back and forth a lot, but I kind of, depending on what my reason for attending is the kind of the hat that I put on. So if I'm working, I kind of go into the analytical mode of dissecting people's talks, their energy of the room, things like that, just because of I've had to do it all. So if I am attending and actually like I get to sit in the seat and I don't have to worry about working, then I look at the aspect of sometimes the breakdown of their talk, and then also what they're educating, or whether it's a transformational talk. So I kind of was looking at it from multiple perspectives, just because of where I come from in my background of training and emceeing and running events. So little different for me. Everybody's going to look at talks differently based on where they're at. Did I freeze up? Are y'all still there?
No, yeah, you're not frozen on our end. Uh-oh.
Okay, so you can hear me fine?
I can hear you, and we can see you. You're good. Keep going.
Okay. So a lot of it just depends on where everybody's at in terms of their learning process when it comes to hearing somebody talk. Okay. So like we've mentioned Michael Silvers a couple times. Michael broke down his hook, his story, and his offer. Okay. Different speakers were really great at their hook, but they couldn't give an offer. Okay. They had a really great story. They were able to connect with different people. Some of them had a great story, not so much of a great hook, so it all just depends on how you look at it. I think everybody did a great job, no bad on anybody whatsoever. I think it all just depends on how you look at it on whether this is more of an educational piece or more of a transformational piece. When we get up there and we talk on the education side, we're only hitting the front cortex of the brain. we're not hitting the emotional side of things. When we get into the transformation piece, that's what people remember. So
Yeah.
just, I kind of look at things a little bit different than a lot of people.
Fair enough. Thank you for sharing. Nalia,
Absolutely.
May I listen and learn, okay, today?
say that again.
May I listen and learn today, okay? But I like the Chris, yeah, first speaker.
You like
I
the
like
first
him,
speaker?
yes. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Beatrice.
I was only there for the last 3 talks. So I really don't have a whole bunch to say about any of them because we talked about it before. My thing is once they start with profanity, my ears turn off. That's just who I am. And so I think Gary and Michael were the 2 least cursing people, least profanity using people. And so I listened to them a little bit more than I did to Ashley, but I don't see the need for profanity when it comes to motivational speaking. And so that's just where I am. So I try to take my head out of the whole bunch because that's who I am. So thanks.
Gotcha. Thank you. So my point in having this exercise, and I think I covered everybody, didn't I? Was there anybody that I didn't? Noelle, you said you were outside a lot, so you didn't get to hear a lot of the speakers. Sue, you weren't there, and Shauna can't speak. Am I missing anybody? Raise your hand if I missed you. Okay. The point of this is your audience is made up of a bunch of different individuals who all learn things differently, who all receive messages differently, who are all in a different place for them to create, to then assign value to that speaker. So what's interesting is we were all in the same room. We all heard the same talk, but yet our takeaways are all different. So when you're a speaker, you know that, yes, you play to your audience. You ask those, I love the clarifying questions at the beginning. It's part of all of my talks. I always try to figure out who do I have in the room when it comes to being an introvert, because I talk about a lot about being an introvert, but asking some clarifying questions so that you can identify your audience a little bit deeper and then have a deeper connection, knowing that everyone in the audience is going to process it differently. So I love that we have such a diverse thought about who really resonated. And I'll have to let Chris know that he got the best feedback in this group because he's awesome. I loved what he had to say. But, you know, think about like Brandon came out and he had those $100 bills and he flung them. That was pretty cool, wasn't it? Did you see how many people scraped to get some of those? And I think it's because they thought they were real.
I did think they were real until they flipped them over on the back.
Right? So that was just a really great way to get somebody's attention super fast. Is, you know, the power of referral marketing is what he was talking about, your power partners, and how that takes from like one sale to, you know, you 10 times, 20 times it, and having that money and then whoosh. So it's a great visual. It was so much, there's so much power in doing something visual that connects with your audience, that's in alignment with your messaging and your business. So you don't do that, you know, if it's just because it's fun and it's cool, if it's not in alignment with your business and your messaging. But if it is, that's a pretty great way to connect and get energy going. Now, we also talked a little bit about early on about the power of your 30-second promotional. And you probably gave that talk, I'm thinking about 50 times over the weekend. Was there any takeaways that you had? Because we talked about reworking our talk and really talking about the results, using those words when you talk about who you are and the business and the referrals that you're looking for. Does anybody have any feedback on how they noticed that whether it was good, bad, indifferent? Silence. Hey, I'm okay with silence. I will wait till somebody has something to talk about. All right, Ms. Eva.
Okay, I think I've got my 30, it's funny because you're dealing with a bunch of professionals. And I would give my thing and they'd say, oh, that's a great 30-second. That's a great elevator picture. That's a great 30-second. Or so as professionals, they recognized it for what it was and good feedback. But what I realized was that was that, but then I didn't convert. So it's like, okay, got the first part down. Now what do you do for the next part? So it's like, okay, good there, but still needs work.
Right. And so in defining your 30-second commercial, you want to use the words that are going to get them to ask clarifying questions so that they know they need you.
Got you.
So that's where that's where I call strategery, right? Get strategic with the words you use and talk about more of the results, not the process.
That was my issue.
As entrepreneurs, we love to put our little hats on because we love doing what we do. And, I can tell people that I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, personal leadership, this, that, and the other thing. But why would they want to do business with me? So using the words that trigger in their little brain that are like, oh, I need some of that. What you do is solve a problem that I have.
And, that's a very simple, probably 6 or 7 more little words that I didn't add to the end.
Yeah.
People buy from people they love, like, and trust.
I love it. All right, Miss Wendy.
Okay, so I had my pitch pretty good. I had my pitch good down pretty good. I do know how to speak. I've just been on back-to-back meetings all day. But it was great because they did ask the follow-up questions, which helped me specify it a little bit more for them and for myself and the people after them, which was really great. I got quite a few compliments on how prepared I was because I had my little 1-foot box of stickers and notes and my immediate batch and all the things. And I almost ran out of one of my 4 stickers. So everybody took a sticker with them. They all have my business name on them, right? So, and then I got 3 appointments booked. And now I have 1 more TV show booked. And I think I got like 15 other leads. So going through this mastermind and setting up and getting prepared and doing all the things helped, but then it also helped that they asked the questions to help me kind of specify and kind of narrow things down a bit. So it was great.
Perfect. Any other thoughts about those doing your 30-second? I guess it was a 1 minute, your speed networking. Jeff.
So we started off just saying, what do you do? We connect your audience with our message, and we have a huge outlet to do it. We have an outlet with millions of viewers built in to do it. And so with Achieve TV, so that automatically begs questions. People are, and then this was our this was our flyer. Didn't have a lot of information. It had a QR code to book a discovery call. I mean, that went to our landing page. It had my name and number on it. It was super simple. We kind of bucked the system a little bit. We didn't put all the questions and answers on there because we figured we're going to talk about those anyway. And our goal was to get follow-up appointments booked so we could get stuff done after the conference. So that was our approach.
Perfect. Well, we are rounding out the half hour, so wanted to also, by a show of hands, if you have started following up with people, raise your hand. Okay, if you have not, no judgment here. If you have not, all right. So I challenge each and every one of you to continue to follow up or to start to follow up. And just really, this is the time you are top of mind right now to the people that were in that room. They created that know, like, and trust, right? They like you. So follow up with them to see how you can become a resource for them. You could be a connection, a power partner for them, or maybe you can they can be a client for you. So I invite you to get on it and grow your business strategically. All right. Sound good? Thank you
Yeah.
all.
God bless y'all.